Hi there my wonderful viewers and fellow creatives. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel Taslima Maya Art, where I showcase my creative journey that I started in 2022. I absolutely love sharing my acrylic pouring, mixed media, alcohol ink and resin projects with you. If you're new here, please do check out my other video tutorials, and if you like what you see, please hit the like, share and subscribe buttons, and do leave me a comment because I absolutely love hearing from you. You can also hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any upcoming videos, and you can sponsor my channel in the link in my description box below. Thank you all for your generous support. I really appreciate it. So my friends, I'm super excited today to welcome you to the It Up collaboration between three artists, myself, Mandy from Hope Designs, and the wonderful Casey from CWV Artistry. All amazing, talented artists and dear friends. As admins of Casey's wonderful Facebook group called Acrylic Pouring Fluid Art Help, Buy, Sell and Learn, as well as ColourArte affiliates, we decided to have one simple rule, and that was to use ColourArte products in our final artwork, and we could use any technique, any style that we chose. So that's what we did. For this collab, I thought I'd do something completely different once again, something pretty amazing really when you see the end result. I do hope you agree. I really like how this one turned out. It was quite challenging along the way, but you'll see what I mean. This spectacular Banksy style artwork is called Come Rain or Shine, and it's based on my two little girls Safi and Sarah. It's a mixed media artwork on a 12 by 16 inch canvas using wax crayons and acrylic paint skins. I'm the last in a lineup trio, so if you missed the videos from Mandy and Casey, please do go back and watch them at the end, as they created some amazing artwork for us all to see. So without much ado, let's get down to the canvas to do some mixed media work. So to begin, for this artwork I used the Crawford and Black Deep Etch canvas, which is 280 GSM and 30 by 40 centimeters roughly, which is 12 by 16 inches, and I began by prepping my canvas. So I used frog tape to tape off the back in case any paint got around the sides. Well, when I say paint, I mean wax, and you'll see what I mean later. But yeah, prepping the canvas is really important before I start a project, generally speaking. So after that I put some house paint down, which was Valspar Trade Silk Emulsion. This is UK type of house paint, but any house paint will do, and I used a wide brush just to get a basic thin coat of that down on my canvas to prepare it for the next stage. Now this piece was completely out of my comfort zone, as you'll see, but you know me, I love doing something different every week for you, so I couldn't help but take on a challenge. Now, in most of my videos, I tend to sketch and draw things, but I know a lot of my viewers can't, or say they can't draw at least, but this is a really nifty little cheap device. It's called a sketch wizard or an optic wizard, which is simply a piece of Perspex where you place your phone or your tablet next to it and it reflects onto the canvas, and I use this to trace this royalty-free clip art of a girl holding an umbrella. Now I do change this clip art. I actually give her longer hair because my eldest daughter has long hair. She's 5 and I decided to change some of the profile on this, but I do get the general shape and position of the girl from this clip art, and that's fine to do as long as you make sure the images are royalty free. So that's me going over it in pencil. And now for the colours. So in terms of the colours, I had a lot of leftover paints mixed up using ColourArte products. A lot of it is primary elements, some prism pour, and I put all of the names of the pigments and paints down in the description box below for you, but they're mixed with polypore from ColourArte to a fluid consistency. So I added a little bit of water to the polypore to thin it down and mixed it in with my pigments and nothing else. It was pretty straightforward to mix these paints up. And the reason that I made it fluid was because I was going to, or the plan was to create paint skins for my umbrella for the little girl there. So that was the initial plan, what I started out with. But as you'll see, as we progress through this video, I actually kept adding and adding to this painting until it was where I was satisfied and happy with it. And I bring in lots of different elements. It's a little bit thick, so I'm just thinning this one down a little bit. So they're all similar consistency. But because I'm simply doing skins, it doesn't really matter because they're all separate. So we're ready now to rock and roll. So let's get started. We'll start off with this one. We'll start with the lighter colours, shall we? Okay, so let's start with the lighter colours. So the next stage was to pour onto my silicone mat, and I took each of my colours and pooled them across my silicone mat. So the umbrella itself on the canvas that you saw is pretty small, so I don't need a lot of paint, and I made smaller paint skins for this project using each of those beautiful colours. At this stage, I wasn't sure exactly which colours I was going to choose for each of the segments in the umbrella, so I was just putting different colours and I was going to decide later. So I pooled all my colours now across the mat. I'm going to take a palette knife to spread this out as thinly as possible. I didn't want really thick paint skins, but it tends to level out anyway, so yeah, that was the plan. So here is my spreader, and this was actually a little too big. I realised this belatedly, so I'm trying to spread this out. It's way too large, and I'm fishing out little bits of gloop from my paint because some of these paints were mixed months ago, had been sitting around. So I've sped this footage up times 7 so that you're not waiting around, and you can see that I find a better sized palette knife, a smaller one here, and that works so much more efficiently. I don't know where she came from, kinda turned me upside down. I just don't know what to do. I wanna spend the night at hers and bring her one of my t-shirts so it smells like her perfume. Now I really get what the love songs are talking about, and I just wanna tell her how I feel, scream it out loud. Have you ever been in love? Have you ever lost your head? Have you felt like you were out of breath when you saw her in that dress? When your heart is beating fast and you're... Here you can see I used another silicone mat to add a few more colours that I didn't have, like black. And then I used a torch just to lightly go over my paint skins whilst they dried so that I could get rid of bubbles. The next step was to take a Sharpie and create small templates for the segments of my umbrella. And I did this on clear plastic. You can use anything really that works for you. And I cut these segments out, as you can see here, to place over my paint skins and cut my paint skins out. So it's a little ingenious idea of how to cut the right size paint skins out for your painting. I'm just going over my design of the little girl. Now, I had to add this little girl because my daughter, my youngest 2-year-old Sarah, saw the single child and said, why is my sister on there, not me? So obviously then my concept changed because of that comment, and I wanted to make her happy. So I've added another little girl, the same age as Sarah, 2-year-old, onto my canvas. And here are my paint skins. And I'm going to be peeling them off. They were dry about 24 hours later. They were pretty dry. So I start to think about how I could place these umbrella segments across the top and cut these out. So given the paint skins are extremely thin, you have to be very, very delicate and gentle when peeling them off the silicone mat. And I'm just separating them there with the scissors. And once I've got them all ready, they're very pliable when they're fresh, which is really nice. And some of those are a bit thicker than others because the consistency of the paint was slightly different for some of those. But that's fine. I'm going to peel them all off now and lay them flat and then decide which segments of my umbrella are going to be what colours next.
I think this picture's better than the watermelon picture.
The watermelon picture was amazing, Sophia.
You might think this one's better.
Okay.
I'm drawing this.
I can't wait to see it.
And the dog and a cat fell in love.
The dog and the cat fell in love?
Yeah, a dog and a cat.
That's sweet.
But normally, dogs and cats fight.
Yes. Okay, so now we've got all the paint skins here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide which colours I'm going to use. So I've got all my templates here. Okay, so let's start off and find, I think I'll just find the smaller ones first. So this one is quite small, we could have it on the yellow here. And then we've got this one, which could probably go on this one here. Then we've got this one, which is a really nice, a big one. And then the red, green, and this red here could go on that red one there. And we've got another really couple of ones. This is a little bit too thin, probably, because I can see right through it. And this one we could have the handles, which are purple. And the only two I haven't used is this one, which is not really that great a colour anyway, and these two, and this I'll probably save for something else. So that's all of our colours done. And I think we've got some spare leftovers for next time. So that's the plan. We are going to cut these out now by drawing around them. I get a pen and I'll just draw around them like this. Let's try this one. Try and use as little of the paint skin as possible. Or we can just leave it on there and actually cut around it, which is also possible.
You can't stop looking at her smile, then you've been in love. That's how you know you've been in love. There's something about the way she laughs, and the way she always dances, when she thinks nobody sees. And when she's gone I miss her so, I tell her, baby, please don't go.
So in the same fashion, I cut out each of the segments of my umbrella with my paint skins underneath, and cut around the transparent plastic, and I get my shapes, and I then arrange these on my canvas, or trying to remember where they go, just so I can get them all put together before I glue them on.
I think you should stay with me, and I really get what the love songs are talking about. Oh, and I just wanna tell her how I feel, scream it out loud. Have you ever been in love? Have you ever lost your head? Have you felt like you were out of breath when you saw her in that dress? When your heart is beating fast and you're sweating, you can't stop looking at her smile, then you've been in love. That's how you know you've been in love.
So the next part in the process is to create the boots of the little girls. So I've got a beautiful 4-year-old and a beautiful 2-year-old, just like my two daughters, which is nice and nostalgic for me, really, because this painting is hopefully going to symbolize my two kids. So I am simply going to use red paint skin, acrylic paint skin, to draw out some wellies or boots and cut them out and place them on the girls as well. But before I do that, I do an outline, because my idea was to have black silhouettes for the two girls, and I thought initially I'd use black paint skin to do this, but I later realized that it didn't look that good, and I'd be better off just painting or drawing on some black acrylic onto the canvas, or rather painting on the acrylic onto the canvas and blocking out the shape or outline of the girls. Here are the acrylic outlines, and here were the black paint skins that I cut out. Decided I didn't like those eventually, so I did colour in using Posca black markers instead. So there's the boots that I now attach. How cute are those? What do you think? I think they're lovely. I do wonder if I should have had yellow boots, but I like the red. And this is what it looks like so far at this stage. And the reverse of the painting looked amazing with the drawing there. And now for the most exciting part of this painting that I couldn't wait for. I was like a little child waiting for this part. I'm going to mask the girls and the umbrella, attach wax crayons, and actually start melting these with a heat source. I will also create paint skin clouds and add wax sprinkles as rain. So like a super excited child, I went out and bought a Crayola pack of 24 crayons. I've never done this before, but I know a few years ago there was a big craze with melting wax crayons and creating paintings out of them. So again, this is completely new to me. I didn't really know how I was going to melt them, but I was going to experiment for sure. And these are all the colours. I did not want to use all of these colours, so I selected some bright, vibrant colours for my particular painting because I wanted rain that looked multicolored. So multicolored rain, which was actually melted wax down my canvas. I aligned each of my crayons, took off the paper wrapping and attached them to my tape, my frog tape, in a kind of linear fashion like this. And then I found a way to attach this to the top of my canvas as such. And I do love involving my little girls in creating artwork with me. They've often helped out, as you'll notice in many of my videos. And this was the stage where they were definitely going to get involved. So they kind of chose the colours for me and told me what kind of order to arrange them on at the top of my canvas there. And they also told me they didn't like the silhouette skins, so I threw them away. And I'm just going to mask off my umbrella here now and my girls. The entire area down there, because obviously when I'm melting wax crayons, hopefully they'll run down in a kind of a linear fashion like rain, and I don't want my umbrella area to be covered in wax because it will be impossible to attach my paint skins to the wax, I imagine. So I masked all that area off. Yes. And I did that very, very quickly.
She came from, it kinda turned me upside down. I just don't know what to do.
So here it is already. I've got my crayons all lined up and taped on the canvas. I've got my masked area with the girls and I'm ready to melt. So I just need a heat gun or a hot air hairdryer. So at this point I figured I'd put a plastic lid from a sweet tub across the top to make it seem like an umbrella, so the rain or my coloured wax would go around it. Now I'm going to be melting the wax outside for obvious reasons. I put down a piece of paper there to protect the decking, and I'm using a hot air dryer similar to a hair dryer to melt the wax. And as you can see, it does melt. It does take a bit of doing, and I was trying to figure out what angle to hold and how close to hold my heat tool to the wax, but I did get the hang of it eventually. They did kind of splatter a little bit and you can see them melting, which was so cool. My daughters were right next to me laughing and watching this. They loved it. I did give them a go as well, because it is pretty safe to do. It doesn't get hot, the hand tool, anyway. So yeah, I melted all those beautiful rainbow rain colours right down my canvas, and this was so much fun. I can't tell you, this was, if you haven't given this a go, give it a go. It does bring up the child in you, and doing it with your kids is even more fun. So here I am chasing those streams of melted wax down my canvas. I did wonder if I overdid it, but I just couldn't help it. I had so much fun in this part. I do hope you're enjoying this, Casey. Casey was my friend who challenged me to do a little girl in the rain holding an umbrella, and I ended up doing two little girls in the end, which is lovely. So I'm now taking off the wax crayons at the top, and I notice there's a big gap there in terms of negative space, and I'm going to be removing my painter's tape, my frog tape, and hopefully nothing's got in underneath. I did attach that plastic lid using double-sided sticky tape, by the way, so that really did keep it in place, and I managed to peel that off because it's on top of my frog tape. Now I'm forever troubleshooting, so I'm trying to think of what to do with the top of the negative space there, and I decide to use the rest of the paint skins to create clouds, and some really nice abstract clouds. And these are all my leftover paint skins. Thankfully I had loads left over. I've arranged the girls there, and I was thinking about whether to add a black ground there with some acrylic paint skin. Decided against it, so I'm forever thinking about possibilities when I'm painting. Here's my daughter again saying that the silhouettes didn't look too great.
Laughing at me.
Yeah, that is your sister and you. That's exactly who it is. And I do end up removing them, and they're just arranging it, which is lovely, with the boots on the girls and playing around with it. Here I'm drawing lovely rain clouds in the form of water droplets. I just thought that was a nice abstract touch, and I do that on all my paint skins, as you can see. And this was a really painstaking part, cutting each one of these water droplets out and then arranging them across the top. But it is worth it. Well, I hope you think it's worth it. Let me know in the comment box below. But when you see the end outcome, you'll see how I managed to arrange all these beautiful multicoloured raindrops, clouds, whatever you want to call them, abstract clouds across the top there, as if that they're raining down on the girls, and the eldest girl is protecting her little sister under that beautiful paint skin umbrella. Well, that was the concept, I think, that emerged eventually. Let me know what you think. I hope you like it, and you can watch the rest of it unfold. There are times when I don't really know what I'm doing, and here I decided that it needed a black background for the paint skins to really stand out, because some of them was slightly semi-transparent, but I sort of used a sponge to add some lamp black Amsterdam paint and some silver to the top, because initially I thought maybe I won't bother with the rain clouds with the paint skins, and just leave it black with some black rain drizzling down to really tie the whole thing together. And then I later changed my mind, so here's me doing the little black rain coming down from that big black cloud at the top. I mean, I like this part, the black contrast with the multicolored rainbow wax colors, but I decided I didn't like the big black cloud at the top eventually, and I covered that up with tri-art glass painted on, and then my paint skin clouds placed above it, or arranged next to each other beautifully above it. Let me know which you would have kept. Would you have kept it black, or would you have added the rain clouds?
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know, if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down. Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know, if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling.
So once I finished arranging my rain clouds, I then decided to finish off the silhouettes of the girls, and as I said, I used a Posca fine tip pen to go over the outlines and colour those in as well. This is what it looks like so far with the rain clouds, the wax rain coming down on the girls, the beautiful paint skin umbrella, and the boots that my girls arranged on the girls' two silhouette feet. And I'm now colouring in with a thicker tipped Posca pen. I thought this was just the easiest way to do it rather than paint, and I simply colour in the silhouette, leaving slight gaps for light reflections for details. Let me know what you think of it so far. I really liked it, but I felt that it wasn't still finished, and I tend to keep working on paintings. Sometimes I overwork them, but I then made this little contraption using cocktail sticks and a bit of foil and a little candle to melt some wax and add it in little globules across the canvas. So I added little tiny drops, and I was trying to think of what other ways I could do this. Here I'm just melting some of that wax down a little bit more because I needed it to go straight down past that umbrella, the edge of the umbrella, so that it didn't look a little odd, you know, kind of going sideways, although rain does go sideways sometimes. But yeah, I was just trying to tidy up little parts of the canvas that I didn't particularly think were that good. I did think about putting wax crayons into a glue gun. I know people probably have done that before. Probably not that safe to do, and I imagine when I tried it, it kind of just came out really runny, and you couldn't really control it. It just melts the wax so quickly as you push the wax crayons through the glue gun, and it wasn't really ideal, so I abandoned that a little kind of side thing that I tried. But I did melt the wax on that little contraption you saw on some foil, and that worked really well because I could use a dotting tool to add little dots across the canvas, which worked really nicely. I also learned something else that was really interesting when it comes to melting wax and creating wax melted paintings, and that is, if you're doing it on a canvas, it does kind of suck in the wax, almost flattens it when you're melting it down a canvas. So I really wanted some texture on this piece, so I got some baking paper, wax paper, and I melted more crayons on it, and these stayed intact in terms of the shape, and you could see that they looked like drops, which looked really nice. I took them off. They really came off very, very easily, and then I glued them on top of my canvas to give it that added 3D wow factor, and I really love this. I mean, it started to look so amazing. And I melted some colours that I really liked and simply glued it on with diamond glaze. I then grated some more wax crayons to give it a bit more interest, and these were the grated particles of wax. I mixed them up, and I decided to do some of these, drop some of these across the kind of the ground where the girls are stood, so it looks like some multicolored rain is there. Initially I tried a little experiment using baking paper on top and an iron, because I read that sometimes gives a nice effect, but I think I used my iron on a really high heat instead of a very low heat, and it sort of blended all those colours together. So eventually what I did was added some diamond glaze across the bottom and sprinkled on some more of those grated wax particles across the bottom and on top as well. Now, I really don't know about you guys, but I am absolutely falling in love with this piece as it develops, and the more I've done to it, the more I'm falling in love with it. I mean, some of those techniques didn't work, like the glue gun and the iron, but it was a nice learning curve for me to know what to do if I ever did try this again. But I really am falling in love with the two little girls. How beautiful are they? Under that beautiful rainbow umbrella and all that rainbow rain coming down on them, all ColourArte colours for the umbrella and the rain clouds there. It's just amazing. Here you'll see me with a kind of fail like with the iron. Yeah, I won't be trying that again. Or if I do, I'll make sure it's on a really low like kind of setting, like for silk or something. But yeah, it kind of just flattened all the colours and made them a bit muddy. So yeah, that's just one lesson learnt. And here I am rectifying that little problem. So, my dear friends, if you've persevered this long with me and you got to this stage, I thank you, hats off to you. But I am putting the finishing touches on, apart from a small coat of varnish, spray varnish, which I'll only spray varnish the part with the girls in, the silhouettes, and leave the rest of it alone. I won't varnish the wax, of course. This painting is almost, well, it is pretty much finished. I just need to sign it. So here it is in the beautiful sunlight. I haven't put a filter on this. There are some images which are a bit dull because of the dark lighting in my home, but outside this is the natural vibrancy of this wonderful, different piece, something completely different to what I'm used to doing. But I really am in absolute love with it, and I really would love to hear your views and comments. Did you enjoy the process I went through, and some of the challenges and how I overcame them? What do you think of the final outcome? I'd love to hear from you. It's just, I have no words for this one. To me, it's really sentimental because it represents my two beautiful little daughters, my Safi and Sarah, who are 4 and 2, and the whole concept of the elder sister holding the umbrella over her little kid sister to protect her from the rain. I just love that, and I love the fact that I used mainly ColourArte products for all the paint pigments, and the wax crayons just give it that added kind of bonus feel to it. It is painting about children using products like crayons that are for children normally or traditionally, so it's really lovely. And look at the way that wax is running down, you know, doesn't it look amazing? Look at the texture in that. You just want to run your fingers over it, and you can. So that's it from me. I really, really hope you enjoyed our collaboration with Casey and Mandy, and I hope you get to watch their videos as well. If you haven't already, please do leave me a like, share and subscribe if you haven't already, and join me in my next video. And I would love to see you again. So yeah, do keep coming back to my channel. There's always new material being uploaded, so hit that notification bell if you want to be notified. And I hope you have a lovely week ahead of you, whatever it is that you're doing. And remember, keep the child in you alive. Bye for now.
Even if the sky